Hey Chavra, we're coming to you live this week from outside the Meuchedet Medical Center on Rehov Haturim in beautiful downtown Yerushalayim. And as many of you know, this week my family celebrated the 1-year anniversary of a bone marrow transplant, which was the culmination of a lengthy, about 1.5-year long treatment for T-cell lymphoma that I was diagnosed with. And I just wanted to share a few thoughts as probably about an hour, maybe 2, until we're in the Bein HaMitzarim, and just wanted to share some thoughts on the other side of the tunnel during a time period of darkness and challenge, as personally I experienced entering into a place of constriction and coming out of it, and now on a national level, together with all of you, we are all entering back into another time of constriction, and to just share a little bit about that. The Rebbe Rayatz, the Frierdiker Rebbe, was imprisoned 7 times in his life. 5 times in the old Tsarist regime in Russia, and 2 times in the new communist regime in Russia. And at the advice of one of his mashpiyim as a young man, when he was imprisoned for the first time, he took it upon himself to make a kind of prison diary. And the 7th of those diaries he titled Days of Light. In English, that's the translation, Days of Light. Yemei Or, Days of Light, which is a funny name for a prison diary where he had to fast in order to get his tefillin back and was repeatedly thrown down steps at an elderly age, and other torturous emotional and physical abuses that he suffered there. And the Rebbe writes that he is willing to admit that he experiences a great deal of pleasure, as funny as that sounds, when he looks back on those days, as evidenced by the fact that 7 years later he's writing down a diary entry and writing about the fact that he still takes time to reminisce and to re-envision and to redream the dreams and the visions and the feelings and the thoughts that he had during those days. Because, as he writes there, in addition to the set time periods of a person's life, of childhood and young adulthood, and as we get older in age and maturity, there's also, in addition to the kind of levels of growing up, there's also periods of time where divine providence, or hashgacha pratis, gives us the opportunity to overcome ourselves. And during those times when we're sitting in darkness, it's really a chance to be sitting on a kind of birthing stool, where on the one hand there's a tremendous amount of pain and a tremendous amount of anxiety and wanting things to turn out a certain way, but at the same time, knowledge that we're about to give birth to something great. And as we enter into this time period of the 3 weeks, it's not coincidental that we read Parshas Pinchas. The Sfarim HaKadoshim say that we always read Parshas Pinchas as we're going into the 3 weeks, because Parshas Pinchas has a recounting of all of the Yomim Tovim LiYisrael, all of the holy days, all of the holidays of the Jewish people. And that's not a mistake. In fact, the Talmidei Baal Shem Tov explained that the 3 weeks of Shivasar B'Tammuz until Tisha B'Av, the 21 days that make up these 3 weeks, this time of constriction, are actually the birthplace of the 3 weeks. If you take the 7 days of Pesach and another 7 days of Sukkot with Shmini Atzeres and Shavuos and Yom Ha'arichta of Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur, and you add all the Yom Tovim together, so you end up with 21 days of Yom Tov. And those days of light, those days of Yom Tov, the first place that we see the word Tov is Vayarlo Kimis Ha'or Ki Tov, the light was good, are actually in this place of darkness, are in these 3 weeks. These 3 weeks are the birthplace of all of that or. And the sin of the golden calf, the Cheder Egel, which is one of the early kind of mistakes that took place that set into motion this day which we're about to enter into. So we know that the Arizal already explained that when the Jewish people got together right before they were about to sin by the Cheder Egel, they said, Chag LaHashem Machar, we're going to make a Chag, we're going to make a celebration for Hashem tomorrow. And little did they know that that Machar was not referring to the Machar of the next day, but a Machar of long in the future, when we're going to be able to turn these days of darkness into days of celebration, because indeed they are the source, they are the Shoresh and the Yesod of all of the light that we experience throughout the year. So Hashem should help us, Hashem should bless us, that we should have the fortitude in our own personal struggles, and certainly in this national time period of darkness, that we should be able to turn darkness into light, and to be able to turn bitterness into sweetness. I wish all of you an easy fast, a meaningful fast, And Amir Hashem will see you on the other side. Shabbos.